Hey, everybody. You can help us make Chris DeMakes a podcast even better by telling us a little bit about yourself. Go to surveymonkey.com/r/JDZ3HL7 for a quick listener survey. It only takes a couple minutes and it helps support our team. To show our appreciation, we're giving away 2 $50 gift cards to lucky participants every single month. Head to, go ahead and grab a pen, surveymonkey.com/r/JDZ3HL7 now for your chance to win.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Hey everyone, today's guest is singer-songwriter Peter Stuart from the Long Island, New York rock band Dog's Eye View. Together we break down the writing, recording, and inspiration behind the breakout hit single, Everything Falls Apart, taken from their 1995 debut album, Happy Nowhere. This was such a cool story. I identify with so many things that Peter shared here with all of us. He's yet another musician who wishes they could go back in time and not only slow down the clock, but go back and try to enjoy those early years, where we were all trying to make it as a musician, one way or another. Everything Falls Apart was born out of that exact premise. Peter was doing anything and everything to make it, and a chance opportunity to open for the Counting Crows led Peter to become both their roadie and opening act on a national tour. The initial producer Peter hired to work on the album turned out to be a dead end. A dead end that sparked the idea for this song. So for all this, and an apology letter to Billy Joel, don't touch that dial.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
And it really is a good morning. You're out in California. It is 6 a.m. your time. Usually we don't like to give out the time here on the show to lose the illusion. But thanks for getting up early for us today.
It was my pleasure. It's great. It's great. It's fun to talk about yourself first thing in the morning.
Peter's one of those guys that one of those weird people like to get up at 5 a.m. and go exercise, because if he doesn't do it then, he says he'll get a bunch of excuses. And man, can I relate to that? So good for you for the motivation.
Indeed, thanks. It's it was a habit that got fully installed when I lived in Texas. I lived in Austin for about 6 years, and if you don't run before it's light, you're doomed.
I definitely know that being from Florida. So you guys formed in 1994 in Los Angeles.
Nope.
That's not true. Is that false?
No, yeah. If you're trying to quiz me, I'm gonna get this one right.
No, well, good, because that is of course off of Wikipedia, and we know that they lie to us, Peter.
Yeah, no, I was so Formed is doing a lot of work there. So I was signed as a solo singer-songwriter guy. I was living in New York at the time and touring a bunch, and I signed to Columbia in 94. So that part's right. And essentially I went to the label as a solo guy, and the head of the label said, yeah, it's great, but you're not going to get on MTV as a solo guy. So what's the band name?
Really?
And I was like, I don't know, Dog's Eye View. So I was signed as a solo artist and came up with a band name, and then hired some guys and went into the studio. So it was never, at the outset, it was never really a band. It was just a solo singer-songwriter project with a band name.
Is that true, though? I'm trying to think back. Early 90s singer-songwriters, certainly they were getting signed. That seems a little bit narrow-minded.
I don't know if it was true. I mean, it worked out.
Yeah.
But it got me into trouble. As a little side story, it got me into, I grew up in Long Island, New York, as a huge Billy Joel fan, as you do in Long Island, New York.
Sure.
And I would I'd sleep outside at Nassau Coliseum to buy tickets and stuff. And then somewhere in the early interviews for the record, I explained that it was a singer-songwriter record with a band name because we couldn't get played on MTV. And then the author editorialized and said, in other words, not an out-of-date artist from another era like Billy Joel.
Oh.
And I immediately was besieged by the label as if I had said that. And I had to write an apology letter to Billy Joel, which was very, very, very upsetting.
You're like, dude, I used to sleep out for your tickets at the Coliseum. I love you.
He didn't give a shit, by the way. He was like, yeah, that guy's an asshole, but whatever.
So again, going back to the Wikipedia till here, was the band founded after you were discovered by Adam from the Counting Crows? What's the truth behind that?
I mean, there's some truth in there. Basically, so I was living in New York and working as like a temporary secretary and playing gigs. And then I went on the road with this Irish band called the Fat Lady Sings. They played a show in New York and I opened for them and they asked me to come out on their tour. So I toured with them. And in the middle of their tour, they were the third band on the bill on a Counting Crows show in Michigan. And a friend of mine had given me the advanced copy of the Counting Crows record. So I was sort of obsessive fan of that cassette before it came out.
Sure.
And it was their first headlining show outside of California ever. And so I just begged to be on the show. And so I literally played at like 7:00 when the doors opened for 15 minutes. But that was enough to get me in the dressing room and chat with Adam about dreadlocks, basically, as like about Jewish kids who wanted dreadlocks.
That was your in.
That was my in. And he hadn't seen me play, but I was like, yeah, I was the opening act. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, we're coming to New York. We need an opening act. Do you want to play the show? And it was the night before they played Saturday Night Live.
Oh my gosh.
And so I opened that show. I got some, hired some musicians. I think the bass player who was playing with me broke his ankle or leg that morning. So he had to play sitting in a chair. It was kind of a disaster. And then literally they played Saturday Night Live and the guy who was supposed to open the next 2 weeks of their shows couldn't do it. And so he was like, I don't know, do you want to do it? And so I went out for 2 weeks with them. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, they were going on a 3-month tour with Cracker and they needed a guitar tech. And so I made the pitch that could I be their roadie and open and play 15 minutes opening every show. And they were like, all right. So I was basically a very low paid or unpaid roadie and opened every show and I stayed out with them for 5 or 6 months doing that.
I love that, man. Doing whatever it takes.
It was whatever it takes. I mean, it's so funny because it's like, looking back at it, it's like, it was not glamorous. We'll say it, right?
But you were hungry, man.
Yeah, super hungry. I mean, I was like literally like those days. I mean, I still look back on it as one of the best times of my life. Because one, you're like the ascendancy of that band, right? I mean, they just became huge, and I was along for the ride.
Right.
But two, it was like these epic days of, we were still driving ourselves in vans. So it's like you do an 8-hour drive. I would do the load in as the roadie. I would set up all their stuff. I would do their sound check. I would play my set and then I'd, wait through Cracker. And then I would be the roadie for the entire Crow set and do the entire breakdown and load the vans and then get in a van and drive. And it was great. I mean, it was just like everything you wanted to be.
Sure, it was great because of how youthful you were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were running on fumes, but you were just going.
Yeah.
You guys, of course, signed the band Dog's Eye View with Sony Records. Released the album Happy Nowhere in October of '95. Everything Falls Apart was the single from the album and the second track out of 13. on the record. Everything Falls Apart got considerable airplay in 1996, peaked at number 66 on the Hot 100, got tons of radio airplay, and the video got lots of airplay on MTV and VH1. And I want to talk about, before we jump into the song, Peter, about Jimbo Barton.
Yeah.
I love his productions. Okay, he produced some records back in the day. I mean, the Queensryche record alone. I mean, that was an epic record from my childhood. Of course, Rush. He's done stuff with Mellencamp, Kiss. But by the 90s, if you were an 80s producer, you were kind of a four-letter word.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of these guys didn't know how to turn off the snare reverb. They didn't know how to have anything but these huge gang vocals. And how do you translate that production into this stripped-down approach that you were going for? And hats off to Jim Barton on this one. I think this sounds incredible. And how did that pairing come about? Because again, it seems a little left of center for 1995.
He certainly wasn't on my radar. Like I wasn't necessarily listening to Queensryche records and that sort of thing. Sony gave me a short list of people they wanted me to consider. And I had one person, this does factor into Everything Falls Apart pretty heavily, actually, because there was one person I was obsessed with working with, who I really, really wanted to work with. It was a guy named Malcolm Byrne, and he produced the first Chris Whitley record, which is a great record. So like he comes out of like the Daniel Lanois world.
Oh, okay.
And so he lived in New Orleans, and he was this great producer who I was dead set on working with. And I went down to New Orleans to meet with him, and he blew me off for the first day and a half. And then at the end of the second day, he's like, I got to go Christmas caroling with my daughter. Do you want to come with me? I was like, sure. So I went Christmas caroling. And finally, the third day, my last day there, he came to the hotel room and asked me to play through the songs. And he clearly hadn't listened to anything I had sent to him.
Oh, no.
And then literally like we sat in the room, and he was like, okay, play me a couple of the songs. So I played him this one song that had a bunch of chords. And he's like, all right, so try to sing that melody over one chord. And he just kind of kept me to drone one chord and do the whole song over one chord or the whole verse. And it didn't work. And then and he was like, I don't know, man. Why don't you just like put all the songs that you want to put on a record and then send them to me, and then I'll listen to it. I was like, yeah, that's what we did. Those are the demos.
Oh, no.
And so it was really brutal. And then we went out and got super drunk. And the next morning I woke up with a really bad hangover and feeling miserable, and like the whole thing had gone to hell. And I wrote Everything Falls Apart on the plane ride back from that session with him.
No way.
So it literally, like, the Crescent is just a curse is literally about going down there, meeting with this dream producer and realizing he couldn't give a shit about producing my record.
I've known guys that have met their heroes before and have been highly disappointed.
So, I mean, weirdly, the entire success of the record is due to him blowing me off and me writing this miserable song about failing.
Yeah.
Right. But he never, he just wasn't into it. And so what happened from there was, they had me meet with a couple other people. Like, I think they were very much in the 80s thing, because they had me meet with, I think his name was Mike Clink.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the guy's name? The guy who did Guns N' Roses?
Yes. Yep. That was his claim to fame, Mike's.
They had me meet with him and a couple other people. And Jimbo and we just got along really well. I was like, I'd like to rent a house and just do it now. He's like, yeah, great. Let's do that. And he was super easygoing. And I think he felt kind of trapped in the 80s thing. So he was just up for whatever, and whoever we wanted to hire. It was great.
This has a great live feel. I want to get into this thing. It's 3 minutes and 54 seconds. And before we do, I don't have too much to say about the demo. And thanks for getting that over to us. You know, when I listen to the demo, it's what I call, and we get all kinds of demos on the show, everything from almost complete songs with drum machines and bass and everything on it, to your idea, which is what most of my demos were, certainly in the 90s. They were just me and a guitar and a tape recorder.
Yep.
And what was striking about the demo was there was certain lyrics here and there, but it was definitely piecemeal. You were working your way through it. but the odd sus chords were there. The bones of the song
Right.
were there. The idea was there, and I thought that was really cool. The final track that ended up on the record that we're talking about today is 3 minutes and 54 seconds. The intro. It's a 2-bar intro. A full band hit happens off the top with drums, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, and tambourine, followed by a bar and a half before we settle into verse 1. You know, the 90s were a time where that singer-songwriter thing, whatever you want to call it, where songs would just start off with no intro. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I know radio didn't like that because they wanted to talk over something. And
Sure.
Did this song start off without an intro? I know on the demo there was a little bit of an intro, but did it ever just start off with vocals, or did you always have the band at the top?
Well, I mean, it started off as me playing it alone without a band. So I just got to it pretty quick. I don't remember any discussion about intro or no intro, but definitely I needed a second to figure out where to sing. But I spent so much time like on that Crows tour, and I did a big tour with Tori Amos where it was just me and an acoustic guitar. So there's sort of like the reason for that hit is like I want to just sort of knock people into listening and then get to singing. But there wasn't a lot. I don't remember a lot of discussion about the intro.
The intro's interesting where it sits within the rest of the song, and we're going to get there. I think it's really, really cool.
Don't look now. Things just got worse. I'm drunk again. I swear this crescent is just a curse. I got here by killing off all my friends. I think I figured it out. My life begins when fun ends. I got my way.
Don't look now. Things just got worse. I'm drunk again. I swear this crescent is just a curse. I got here by killing off all my friends. I think I figured it out. My life begins where the fun ends. What a pretty bleak lyric over this almost happy pop song, right?
That's sort of the story of me as a songwriter, right? If you don't listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh, what a poppy little song, and then there's all this misery and darkness underneath. That was me as a person.
Welcome
right?
to the 90s.
Yeah, welcome to the 90s.
Yep.
So as I said before, like they don't look now. Things just got worse. I'm drunk again. This crescent is just a curse. It's specifically that New Orleans night with Malcolm Byrne, where I felt like I went down there with high hopes and came out just hungover and miserable. Of course, blaming New Orleans, not my decision to get drunk. And
as we do,
and the killing off on my friends. I mean, as you were saying before about the demo or anything like that, a lot of songwriting for me anyway, and it sounds like for you, is like sitting around mumbling till something sounds right. And maybe there's some subconscious effort that you're working something out and it makes sense, but sometimes it's just the words sound good.
Yeah.
But I think in retrospect, I got here by killing off all my friends is a nod to how, like, as I was talking about, driving around vans and stuff before, like I would have done anything to succeed as a musician and stepped on anyone's toes and pushed anyone out of the way. So I think like it was my single-minded focus on get out of my way because I'm doing this one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was projected as a band, but essentially this is a solo thing. Yeah. So that lyric right now is jumping off the paper at me, sure. Killing off all my friends. I mean, you're alone.
Yeah, totally alone. And my life begins when the fun ends is sort of like, on some level, the song is about self-sabotage, right? It's about sort of creating obstacles to make your life interesting. Every time you get to a new plateau, you kind of look around and go, yeah, this is boring. What else can I wreck?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the Killing Off All My Friends is also, there were band members and there were other bands along the way where I just sort of went like, well, now I'm moving to Chicago and going to New York and I'm on my own.
Yeah. Well, I want to know about, because this is before Pro Tools, or right on the cusp of Pro Tools, mid 90s. So this was tracked, I'm assuming, to 2-inch tape. Were the basic tracks cut live? Because this sounds like acoustic guitar, bass, and drums. You guys are set up in a room, and then we overdubbed whatever else after. Is that pretty much what happened?
100%. Yeah. We rented a house, and Jimbo brought in this guy, Tom, who was the engineer, who I think engineered Tom Hall. I think engineered some of the Queensryche stuff too. But we were literally just set up in the house, in the living room of the house. Some stuff we worked on the stairs, on the more acoustic stuff, like using the sort of echo of the house. But we did everything live as basic tracks, and did overdubbing, but not a ton. There wasn't a lot of individual tracking.
It sounds awesome. Well, the drums, bass, and acoustic guitar, which is predominantly panned off to the left, is here in verse 1. Halfway through, after Is Just a Curse, we get a whole band turnaround. We go back to the intro for 2 bars before the second half of verse 1. And I think I hear maybe like a B3 stab there at the end, right before we get into the second part of the verse. I don't know if that's what I'm hearing or not, or if you can even recall, Peter.
I have no idea.
But this verse is the only time that turnaround happens.
Is that right?
It doesn't happen in verse 2. And can you talk about that a little bit? It's very interesting. It's so cool how you just threw that into verse 1. It doesn't happen again like you did it here. Do you remember talking about that, or thinking it was odd or cool? Or
is verse 1 twice as long as verse 2? Is it a double verse?
It's not. That's the odd part too. I think it's just, it's the way you sing it. They're both 8 bars.
Right.
It's very, very strange. I kept trying to count through it. You do something vocally, but yeah, there's a turnaround here in verse 1 that's great. And on the last line, my life begins when the fun ends. A guitar panned off right. This guitar lick begins just before we get into pre-chorus 1. And I love that guitar creeping in there.
Yeah.
It's so cool against the rest of the band, because it's like the first overdub, but it doesn't feel like, oh, there's another thing happening here over this live band. It's pretty seamless.
When the fun ends, I got my wings. I'm free to go as I please. Yeah, I got my wings. Now nothing really pleases me till everything falls.
I've got my wings. I'm free to go as I please. Yeah, I've got my wings. Now nothing really pleases me till.
I think, again, that's getting to where you think you wanted to get to and realizing that you're unsatisfied with where you are, right? It's sort of like, oh, this is where I've always wanted to be. And then there's another mountain to climb, right? There's somewhere else to go. It's sort of looking back, I've been sober 23 and a half years at this point, right? But looking back at this was an early indicator that my discontentment and my desire to always have more was present at this time. And it sort of manifested, right, in this song as, it's like, oh, I got my way, like I'm finally free. I can do whatever I want. It's sort of like a kid running away from home, right? It's like you slam the door and walk into the street and you're like, fuck my parents, I'm gone. And then you get into the street and you're like, now what do I do?
Well, it's crazy. Our whole lives were, push, learn more,
right,
get more money, get a better education, be better at sports, be better at whatever. And now you get into a band, especially back when we got signed, and you got signed in the 90s, it was all about how many records did we sell this week? Are we keeping up with the Joneses? Are we selling as many tickets as the Counting Crows? Are we selling? And that'll drive you nuts because there's never enough.
It drove me insane. It was never enough. Yeah. I mean, it drove me insane. I mean, as someone else who was signed, right? The goal was like, you get a record deal, right? And then you get the record deal and you're like, oh, now the work begins, right? And then you get a song on the radio and you're like, oh, I'm on the radio. And like, now the work begins, right? And it's like MTV, we're on MTV. Oh, now the work begins.
Yeah, and if you're one of those bands that's lucky enough to get a gold record, then you want a platinum record.
Right,
then you want a
course.
double platinum record.
Yeah.
And it's like, no wonder these huge superstars drove themselves nuts. You can't be bigger than Thriller.
Right.
How do you top that?
Right. And it sucks a lot of the enjoyment out along the way. If you achieve the things you want to achieve and you're not happy with them, like you're not in the present at all, right? You can't really enjoy, like, looking back at it, right? You go like, oh my God, I could spend years of my life just playing music and like wandering around the world. How amazing is that, right? But at the time you're like, why am I doing this fucking radio show for this station I've never heard of? And and my friends are playing on Saturday Night Live. What is happening?
Peter, I'm shaking my head because I relate. This could be another podcast in and of itself. We could talk for hours about this, of the never having enough and the wanting more. Yeah. It's only been the last 10 years, and I hate to be a broken record. I know some of the listeners have heard me say this, but when I had my children, think something just changed inside me to where right now I can be present with you.
Right.
I can sit here and talk. I'm not thinking about the interview I have later or how many records I have to. No, I'm right here. And gosh, thank goodness for that, because I lived in that bubble as you did for a long, long time. Pre-chorus 1, drums, bass, acoustic guitar, more of a stereo image here with the acoustic. It seems like it got wider here in the pre-chorus. Yeah. With that guitar panned off to the right, still riffing away. And then we get into chorus 1.
Me till everything falls apart. Then I get to try to put it back together. Yeah, it falls apart, and you can count on that. You can count on bad weather again.
Everything falls apart. Then I get to try to put it back together. Yeah, it falls apart. And you can count on that. You can count on bad weather again.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, right, boredom, the surest ticket out of boredom is create mayhem, right? Create havoc. So if things, like if things are fine, it's pretty boring, especially in your 20s, right? Things are boring. What do? You stir shit up. It's sort of like the modern equivalent would be trolling, right? It's like if you're bored, you just troll somebody and you get a reaction. But it is that thing of like, things are kind of dull. What do I do? You get drunk and ruin your life, right? And then you have to dig out of something that gives you something to do. So it's a lot about that self-sabotage of like, well, now I have something to do and things are exciting.
Yeah, things were exciting, but it always comes time to pay the piper, as we know. And you're at that radio gig at 7 a.m, puking into a trash can, doing live radio. And that again's for another time in conversation. I want to talk about harmonies.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get there. We don't get harmonies till the tail end of this song.
Yeah.
Did Jim Barton or you or any of the guys did you obviously didn't feel, but did you ever talk about having some harmonies here?
I mean, we definitely talked about it because we had them at the end. We always had the idea of having them at the end. There is a little bit of I don't know, you're probably going to cut all this backstory out, but there was a guy named David Poe, who was an artist in the 90s as well, who's doing a bunch of stuff still. And he was the sound guy at CBGB's Gallery and a great artist. And so he took the train up to come sing harmonies on this song in particular. And he'd been living in the city so long that he came up, we were in this house, and he went outside and rolled down the hill like you do as a kid and broke his ankle within 15 minutes of being at the house. So he had to go to the hospital and leave and wasn't there to sing harmonies. So a friend of mine.
That's why there's no backing vocals on the chorus.
Which is why we didn't do harmonies till way later when my friend Brad came to town. So that there may have been more harmonies had David not broken his ankle.
What a crazy, insane story. That is ridiculous. I love that. In chorus 1, drums, bass, acoustic guitar, an overdriven rhythm guitar, and another slightly overdriven lead guitar, panned slight right. playing a great counter melody to the lead vocals. The vocals sound doubled here, but it's a tight double, and you really don't hear the double till Bad, Bad Weather Again. It's almost like what we call a feature line, and they'll say that in rap music, where they'll have an obvious double or triple vocal right there, but that's really the only spot that I can hear it. And then we get into a 2-bar full band reintro. So we get that reintro again from the top and what's in verse 1, but that's really the last time that we hear it. And then we go into verse 2.
Was it good? I don't remember much about it. When things start to feel right, you can count on me to start to doubt it. And the devil's not in the details. No, the devil is in my pants. And it's shoot first, apologize later, another quick and short shot romance. Well, I got what I wanted.
Was it good? I don't remember much about it. When things start to feel right, you can count on me to start to doubt it. And the devil's not in the details. No, the devil is in my pants. And it's shoot first, apologize later. Another quick end to a short shot romance.
Yeah. I mean, whether that's short shot or short shot was never fully decided in my brain. So I sort of, it could be either. It's murky on purpose.
And reading it on paper, I was like, is that what he's saying? And then as you're listening and now you know what you think it should be, then that's all I'm hearing. So I'm glad you clarified a little bit there.
Yeah. I mean, that verse is, what do you think of that verse? No.
I'm going to tell you what I think of this verse.
Yeah, please. I'm interested to hear the interpretation.
I've been doing this show now, Peter, for about 6 years, over 300 episodes, and nothing shocks me anymore. I've been dead on with lyrics, and I've been so far off, I get laughed out of the room. I don't know. This just sounds like maybe your life at that time, or you're just kind of running hard. You don't remember much about it. You've been drinking, you've been partying. Devil's not in the details. Now he's in your pants, and all you want to do is shoot first, which is get off, whether that's maybe with the opposite sex or get off in your musical life. Am I anywhere near this?
Yeah, you're somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Well, look, yeah,
that's my guess.
I mean, it's almost directly about sort of drunken one night stands. Right, about creating havoc with a drunken one night stand, and again, it's about the idea that this is going to be, like if you're a teenager and you think someday I'm going to be in a band and I'm going to go out and tour, and like I'm going to go out and as a teenage boy, you're like, I'm going to go out and get laid, like that whole idea of like rock star thing, right?
Especially if you watched MTV in the 80s.
Especially if you watched MTV in the 80s. So it's, it's kind of like coming out of a one night stand and going, okay, well, first of all, I don't remember exactly what happened. It's all blurry because we're drinking and whatever. And the idea of the devil is not in the details. The devil is in my pants. One, that's just a funny line to me, right? It's just like it's a way to like, the devil's not in the details. Where would the devil's in my pants, right? But that's also, men tend to follow their penises around, right? They tend to follow, like they think with their
other brain.
They think with their other brain. Thank you for putting that more eloquently. So it's partly that. It's like, what was I thinking? What did I do? And then, the shoot first, apologize later is also doing sort of double work, right? On one hand, it's just having a big mouth, right? And having to clean up whatever you said the night before. But it's also sort of if I'm going to be fully honest, it's also a premature ejaculation confession in there, which is that the idea of the rock star and the actuality of the rock star was very different, which is like the shoot first, apologize later is like, hey, this is going to be a great long night, and it's over. Right.
Yeah.
And the short shot, that's where the short shot romance comes in, where it's like, it's a very quick thing and then it's over.
The trouble with love is it gets to know you.
Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up with Peter Stuart after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits, to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
You thought this was your Run Club era. Turns out, it was more of a thinking about Run Club era. The good news? Someone's marathon training is about to start. Sell your workout gear on Depop. Just snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. They get their race day fit, and you get a payout for trying. Someone on Depop wants what you've got. Start selling now. Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're gonna crack this case and prove we're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
You are... Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream Team. New habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home.
You're clearly working it.
Zootopia 2, now available on Disney+, rated PG.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs. So you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey friends, Chris DeMakes here. If you love Chris DeMakes a podcast and you'd like to help us continue bringing you great episodes each week, please take a minute to check out chrisdemakes.com. That's where you'll find our Patreon. Our Patreon supporters get instant access to hundreds of episodes of The After Party, our weekly bonus episode that people have raved to us about for years. You can also get ad-free, early releases of each week's episode of Chris DeMakes a podcast, as well as unedited video versions of the show. Even if you're not sure if you want to sign up, you can go to chrisdemakes.com and sign up for a free account. We'll throw you a free preview episode here and there. We can't thank you enough for all the support. And if you have a few extra bucks and you want to help us keep the lights on, our Patreon is the way to do it. Head to chrisdemakes.com to learn more.
And now back to the show.
Verse 2, drums, bass, and acoustic guitar panned off left. After the line, you can count on me to start to doubt it. The lead guitar panned off right creeps in at the end of this line. There's no re-intro turnaround, though, halfway through this verse.
Right.
It just starts on the second half. And the devil's not in the details. That lead guitar panned off right plays sporadically everywhere, except where you say, and it's shoot first, apologize later, another quick end. Right there, that guitar goes away. It's almost like that lyric jumps off at you.
Shoot first, apologize later, another quick and short shot romance.
I really noticed that, and it's almost like it puts emphasis on that. And I don't even know if you or Jim or anybody even thought about that, but that's what I feel as a listener.
I'm sure Jimbo thought about it when he was mixing it.
Yeah.
Because he was very conscious of that stuff. But in a lot of ways, the secret weapon of that record was the guitar player, Oren Blodow. He was really a bass player, and he's very much in the jazz scene in New York. So he's like a pretty avant musician, and definitely not like a pop singer, songwriter, guitar player. But somehow I stumbled across him, and he like picked up a guitar, and so there's a lot of guitar playing on there that's just not stereotypical guitar playing.
I'm glad you gave a nod to him, because it's not copy and paste pop guitar. Sometimes that'll work brilliantly for a pop song, but this is almost like a jazz fusion. Yeah. There's things that he's playing here that he's not repeating the same figures over and over. It's just very almost sporadic off the cuff. And how mapped out was that? Was he kind of riffing?
He was riffing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a lot of what I liked about the band I put together for that record was everyone was a really ears-on musician who was just listening to the song and reacting to what I was singing or reacting to what I was playing. So much of that stuff was just playing live and him playing off of the vocals. And the drummer too, Alan Bezzosi, was the most musical drummer I've ever played with. Just total song-oriented guy who's listening for what the song wants.
You can tell he's a player, man. That there's no pro tooling going on with a drummer like that. You can just feel it.
Yeah, he was all feel.
It's just pocketed. The way he hits that snare, it's so good. Pre-chorus too.
Shot romance, but not what I wanted. Now I don't want anything. Yeah, I got what I wanted. Now my life is just boring till everything.
Well, I got what I wanted. Now I don't want anything. Yeah, I got what I wanted. Now my life is just boring.
Yeah.
Man, I can relate to that. How many times have you played a show, a couple thousand people freaking out, going nuts, and you're just so high from it, and you get back to your hotel room or whatever, and it's 2 a.m, you can't sleep, you're bored out of your mind. It's like that come down, right?
Well, the come down, but also all the other stuff. Like all the other hours of like van rides and like sitting in hotels and like everything except that hour when you're playing.
Yeah.
Right. Is just like, this is everything I ever wanted. And you go like, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. I mean, it's not, and then you feel like shit for complaining about it. Right. But it's, you're sitting there like, I don't know if you guys must have toured Europe, right?
Oh, yes.
Like,
yes.
You're sitting in like a dank dressing room in Germany with like a tray full of gray meat.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you're like,
been there.
This is like, this is what I wanted.
And especially back before Wi-Fi and smartphones. Sure. I mean, those European tours were some of the longest days of my life. Pre-chorus too, something interesting, if there was ever a time in history to be wordy, it was the 90s, especially singer-songwriter stuff. Singer-songwriters could, Dave Matthews could just spit out lyrics for days. But,
sure.
The chorus here is pretty wordy. And then we get to pre-chorus 2. Pre-chorus 2 is not the same lyrics as pre-chorus 1.
Right.
And let's talk about that a little bit, because a lot of times you want the listener, the audience, to have something to hang on to, and that repeated lyric. Was that ever an issue or a discussion with this, or did Jim and you feel like it needs to be a different lyric? We need this information here.
I mean, that's just how I wrote it. I mean, I just like, I like to set up I like to land into a chorus differently. So I feel like if you can change the meaning of a chorus a little bit by setting it up with a different pre-chorus. Mm-hmm. And sometimes on some other songs, not necessarily this one, you can totally change the meaning of the chorus by bringing it in a different way. So for me, it was just like, that's how the song evolved.
Well, the drums, bass, and acoustic guitar here, again, it's that more stereo image with the acoustic. And the guitar panned off right is playing lead. Another guitar on the last line, panned off left, plays a counter lead to the guitar off right. I love on that last line how another guitar comes in. And I gotta say here, the last word, boring, okay?
Yeah.
You could have sang it boring, but you say bore-or-ing.
Okay.
I would have had producers, I could tell you right now, my bass player would have said, no. Do you ever remember that being an issue?
No.
Why can't you just say boring? Why do you have to say bore-or-ing? And you know what? Sometimes that's the personality of the singer coming out, and it feels real, and it gets left. But that jumped out at me. That's something
funny.
that I could have a producer take it or leave them. Maybe they would never say anything, but I could see them having that be an issue. And I know you've gotten caught up with words before, certainly in the studio, but that doesn't sound like this was an issue here.
No, definitely not. But I also I don't like my way of recording vocals. Is like, just put me in the song and I'll go for it a bunch of times. And then Jimbo was great about just taking that and coming up with a comp and presenting it to me. So, it's really hats off to him that he didn't sort of slice it down to something like he liked something about how that emoted.
I'm going pretty deep here. I'm picking apart this song. And I mean that when I got to that part though, it was interesting. I'm like, okay, they left that in, which it's perfect. It works great. Nobody else would probably ever notice, but being a singer, I know about those syllables and those words, and man, I've been eaten alive before.
That's funny. This is the advantage of not having a band, by the way. It's like, right. No one's going to go like, about that vocal. And it's like, I don't have to listen to you.
Exactly. Well, chorus 2, it's the same overall instrumentation and lyrics as chorus 1, except the last line. You can count on bad weather this year instead of bad weather again.
Till everything falls apart, then I get to try to put it back together, it falls apart, and you count on that,
Why'd you change the lyric there?
Again, this is just me singing different stuff in different takes, probably. My guess is if I picked up a guitar and sang it now, I would get it wrong in some way. Like I would mix the bad weather again and bad weather this year. In fact, I just recently re-recorded the whole song so that I own the master.
Okay.
And I didn't clock it at all that I sang the wrong one on one of the things. Neither did the guy producing it. And my wife was like, I can tell this one's different because you sang a different lyric there, because she's listened to the song more than I have. So for me, it's probably, I just sang different stuff and Jimbo put one in instead of the other. It wasn't necessarily a big decision.
Okay. Well, I love it. The lead guitar here sounds a bit bigger and louder overall. It's taking up more space here in chorus 2, as does the intensity of the band. Your drummer, there's something going on here. It just feels a little bit bigger. I absolutely love that. And then we get into an 8-bar guitar solo. The band keeps rocking the chorus progression here with a classy lead guitar solo. Right up the middle center. And at the end, the last couple bars, the bass guitar gets nice and loud at the end of the solo. It does really high things that lifts us up. And then we get into verse 3. And Peter, verse 3, to me, it acts as a bridge in this song.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's executed.
Sure.
I absolutely love this. And I think it's so cool. Every line has this start-stop thing with the full band. The hi-hat's kind of keeping... it's not a solid thing, but it's keeping time in kind of an odd way here as those hits happen.
met God this afternoon, riding on an uptown train. I said, don't you have better things to do? He said, if I do my job, what would you complain about? So I let it go to hell.
I met God this afternoon, riding on an uptown train. I said, don't you have better things to do? He said, if I do my job, what would you complain about? This right here, I met God this afternoon riding on a train. What are you talking about?
I mean, so as with a lot of songs, this was written in pieces, right? There's the New Orleans piece, but then I was living in New York. So a lot of it was the idea of just like, if I was riding on the 1-9 subway in New York, and I ran into God, right? So it was an idea of having a conversation with God, like, and then God going like, the idea was this conversation where like, why is everything so fucked up, right? Why is everything so messed up? And God would be like, well, so that you have stuff to write about, dude, right? And so so that it's interesting, because if it was fine, you'd have nothing to write about, right? It's this age old sort of idea or tension of like, as a songwriter, no one wants to hear a record about things being fine, right? Everything's pretty good. Everything's all right, right? We all want the heartbreak and the tension and the drama. So it was the idea that God would be like, hey, look, you get this. This is how the universe works.
You're killing me. You hearken me back. I had Dee Snider on the show one time. We were talking about We're Not Going to Take It.
Sure.
And Dee was telling me, he's like, yeah, we were hungry. We were this band on Long Island, and I wrote We Were Not Going to Take It and all these songs. And then we went to make the follow-up record, and I'm sitting by my pool in Malibu.
Yeah.
The house is paid for. The butler's paid for the day.
Yeah.
Like, I have nothing to complain. I have nothing to write about.
Yeah. What's that? Like, there's a U2 line, like every poet kills the things they love and sings about the grief or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
And it is kind of that thing, right? And that's essentially what this whole song is about. It's like, things feel fine. I'm uncomfortable with things feeling fine or okay. I'm discontent with contentment. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna blow things up and stir it up. And so the idea was having a conversation with God and going like, why? And God going like, yeah, I'm just like you. And things are fine. It's boring. Let's make it interesting.
Hey man, tip of the hat to you here. This is good. This is good stuff. I'd love to be that imaginative sometimes as a lyricist. At the end of verse 3, the guitar, bass guitar, goes to these 5 like high descending bass notes, which bring us into pre-chorus 3.
What would you complain about? So I let it go to hell. Now I'll have something to do. Said I'll let it go to hell. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, everything falls.
So I let it go to hell. Now I'll have something to do. He said, I let it go to hell. Does that sound familiar to you?
Right. Yeah. Again, it's just God going like, you get it? I'm doing what you're doing. Like, let it go to hell, and then you have work to do. And you have something to work on. Which doesn't make for a happy life, but it makes for, okay songs.
Sometimes it does. That is absolutely true. Coming out of those hits of verse 3, the drums go back to a regular beat here in the pre-chorus. That guitar panned off right is louder than pre-chorus 1 and pre-chorus 2. Again, the song's building here.
Yeah.
Chorus 3, we don't get a till. There's no till here, Peter. You just went straight into it.
Well, everything falls apart. Then I get to try to put it back together. Yeah, it falls apart. And you can count on that. You can count on that. Bad weather. Well, everything dies.
Well, everything falls apart. Then I try to put it back together. Yeah, it falls apart. You can count on that. You can count on bad weather. We don't get an again there. So again, the chorus changes a little bit. And to your point, I know that. I'll go in and do vocal comps, and sometimes I'll sing something. And there's been times when I've went in and been like, oh no, that's the wrong take. And the producer's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, it's a different word. Like, that word's better.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Other times they're like, yeah, you're right. Go and change it. And is that possibly what happened here again with the no again?
Totally. I mean, this is Jimbo mixing things and doing the comp and coming up with something he found interesting. And to me, like, I don't have perspective on my own vocals or what's working, as well as the reason to work with a producer is that he's going to get a sense of how it sounds, how your voice sounds in a different way that you are. So for me, I listen to it and I'm going to be critical of tone or whether I'm a little flat or this or that. And he comes from a place of like, does it work? Like, is it hitting? And so again, I defer to that. Like, I like to come in and listen to the comp done and either go like, yeah, it works. Or if anything bothers me, I'll call it out. But if it doesn't bother me, I'm just like, great. If it works for you, you're the producer.
You sound like me. I can't edit my vocals. I hear every little scratch in my throat, and it drives me absolutely crazy.
Well, and what you do if you do that is you take away the effect, possibly, right? It's like you want somebody with some level of objectivity to go like, no, it works, because there are records I love where the vocal is. I love it because the vocal has a weird crack in it, right?
Oh yeah, no, and when that gets left in, that realness factor, it's awesome. The vocal double here is the loudest that it's been in the whole song here in chorus 3 and the next part, which I'm calling the post-chorus tag of the song.
Take it all away from you. You're gonna wake up, scared. You're gonna find yourself lost again.
Well, everything that falls apart, baby, it's sooner or later gonna come back together. Well, everything that come together, hey, sooner or later gonna fall apart. And you could call it anything you want. They're going to take it all away from you. You're going to wake up. Scared, you're going to find yourself lost again. And I love that last lyric. It's the cliffhanger lyric, lost again.
Sure.
It's the same at the beginning of this song. You were lost then, so now it's like, it's just spiraling.
Again, probably a lot of takes of me singing different stuff. But that, this was a song that I was playing a ton solo acoustic, out on the road. And then with John, he played upright bass and we did some tours with just the two of us. So there was a lot of just vamping and making stuff up. But this was the sort of vamp that made the most sense.
Well, and being a singer-songwriter, how many times did you ad-lib?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, singer-songwriters are a lot like comedians.
Yeah.
They really are. The ones that do it well. They know how to pivot. They can read a crowd. And you can feel that here at the end, like you're scatting. And I really, really think that's cool.
For sure. And I mean, there are entire other songs that I started writing by ad-libbing at the end of songs I was playing live. I would come up with a lyric and I'd go, well, what was that I just sang, right? So there's a lot of ad-libbing, but it sort of is of a piece, right? It's sort of like rinse and repeat, like you're going to wake up scared, find yourself lost again, start over, figure it out.
It looks like our backing vocalist got back from the hospital after his ankle roll down the hill.
Different backing vocalist, yep.
Oh, this is a different backing vocalist now.
My
My apologies. Like, he never came back from the hospital. All right. We get a harmony on Sooner or Later. Yep. Gonna come back together. It's the first harmony in the song. And we get a laugh on the word comeback. You're laughing there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So you laughed at something and it was so playful and it's catchy as all get out. I don't think you could fake that. If you tried to fake the laugh, it would sound phony.
Yeah, it's just a thing that came out. Either it was sort of giddy laughter at the fact that I was singing, singing alone in a room, making a record. At best, music is transcendent, right? At its very peak. And so if you're in the middle of a take and it feels great and you're singing well and the whole thing's coming together, that was probably that kind of joyous moment.
Ah, it's so cool. And I can feel that it's real, man. That's what it is. Like I said, I could tell if it was phony. I think I could tell. And this sounds as real as it gets. I also like the restraint of the backing vocal, okay? Because we only get another harmony on Sooner or Later, Gonna.
Right.
That's it. We don't get any other harmonies. It sounds like a violin or strings join us here, as well as an octave guitar on the fade out. Could I be hearing that?
It's possible. I don't remember doing violin or strings, but it's possible that
or
they're in there.
Synth, maybe. There's something floating there.
There is a background vocal that's going like, so that may be that. Like it's like a doubled vocal.
Right. I have that written here. Might be some ooze tucked in back there, vocal ooze or pads or something going on.
Yeah. It's sort of a vocal pad that sounds kind of synthy.
On the line, and you can call it anything you want. We start to get a slow fade out of the song. On the line, you're going to wake up. The song begins to fade really quickly, and it's pretty much out by the last lyric, Lost Again. You got the song recorded. You're with Jim in the studio. The mix comes back. Where did this song, out of 13 tracks on Happy Nowhere, where did it sit for you?
Where did it sit in terms of how I thought about the song?
How you thought about it, yeah. And what was Jim thinking about? What was the label thing? Did you think it was a hit? Was it another song on the record?
It was another song on the record. I mean, hilariously enough, I sent the rough mixes to Adam from Counting Crows. And he said, I love the record. I think it's a great record. I think you should leave that song, Everything Falls Apart, off of it.
What?
Yeah. So
what?
So yeah, he did not like it, or he thought it didn't fit the mood of the rest of the record.
Maybe that's why Adam never became an A&R guy.
Yeah, maybe. But so who knows? Who knows what that was about? But I mean, there was nowhere in the turning in the record and where anyone was like, "Man, we got a huge hit here. This is a big hit. We got to go with this." It was like, I think this will be honestly, it was seen as a good single to put out first to get to Small Wonders, which was perceived as possibly the single. Or Prince's Favorite Son, which is also on the record. So it was kind of like, let's put it out and see what happens and see if we can build momentum. And I think the success of Everything Falls Apart threw everybody off the plan.
Yeah.
And it was a surprise to everybody. Like it just became one of those songs like played, and AAA played it and played it and played it and played it. And then pop radio started playing it, and it just, on MTV, and it just took on its own life. But I don't remember anyone going like, "We got a hit here, kid." Like there was not that.
I can't tell you how many times we've heard that a song written in 15 minutes. No, it's not on anybody's radar, becomes the standout, the song that the band's known for. I love that. The album Happy Nowhere was released on vinyl for the first time back on Record Store Day, April 18th, on Unoriginal Vinyl. And Jason from Unoriginal Vinyl was who made this connection for Peter for us. So thanks to Jason. You guys did a limited pressing of 3,000 copies, which include never before heard bonus tracks from that era, as well as a detailed introspective interview of Peter by MTV's Dave Holmes. And before we break here, Peter, what else is going on with you? What's happening with your solo work? Plug away.
I mean, I don't know that there's much to plug. For the last 20 or so years, I've been a psychotherapist and not a musician, which was a fun pivot. It's all the same thing to me, right? It's just understanding the human condition and talking with people. But funny enough, we did this vinyl reissue, and you mentioned kids before. Like in the last few years, I've started writing songs again, and it's fun because they're for absolutely. There's no career in it. There's no point in it. I don't think there's any money in writing songs anymore either. So there's no like it's not corrupted in any way by ego. And I'm just writing songs because they're fun to write. But yeah. I've amassed a sort of group of songs that I think I'm going to go in and record coming up pretty soon. So we'll see. I mean, there's songs about having kids and mortality. So not, I don't know how interesting they are, but they're good songs. So I've been writing that, and ideally playing around a little bit, but it's fun to keep it it's fun to have it in this other category of like, I'm not, as we talked about before, that whole thing of like trying to get somewhere. Like it's fun to have it just be for fun and for free, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to play some songs because I feel like writing a song, not because I'm trying to make a record or trying to figure out what people want to hear.
Yeah. No, it's coming from a pure place of
totally.
joy of writing the song.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you one more thing. I'm gonna let you go with this. I want to know. It's now 31 years later. If you met God this afternoon riding on an uptown train, what would he tell Peter Stuart in 2026?
That's a great question. He'd probably just say, "Enjoy the ride." Right? Enjoy
the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Yeah. You're
like.
Yeah.
Be content.
You'd probably be wondering why you're still on the same train, right?
Still on the same train. Tell you, be present, enjoy the ride. I mean, because that is the thing, right? It's like as we get to middle age or whatever, I don't know if you have this feeling with your band and stuff, but it's like looking back at that period. It's like, man, I should have enjoyed. I wish I'd taken some of the aspirational quality and the dissatisfaction and just enjoyed the ride, right? Because it's like it's an amazing thing that we're even on this planet doing this thing, and to have a life where you get to go play music for people. It's like, enjoy the ride. Like right now it's this, enjoy this. Tomorrow it'll be something different. Enjoy that and settle into it.
What a great way to end this one. Peter, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
Then these small wonders keep us awake at night. These small wonders hold us down to the ground and show us who we are.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. I've been a fan of Everything Falls Apart since it was released, and if you haven't, maybe dive deeper into the Dog's Eye View catalog because there are a lot of great songs. And don't go anywhere, we got lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
Do you hear that? Sounds like breakfast is ready. Because Quaker's coming in hot with morning nutrition. 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber to fuel the rhythm of your morning and kickstart your day. And that sounds absolutely delicious. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
This NBA playoffs with FanDuel, you're not just watching the playoffs, you're a part of them.
And we're back. Steve's got the phone, opens FanDuel, locks in player points. Quick fingers, you love to see it. Now he's going for threes. Big night for Steve-O.
Be a part of the action. and get better payouts this NBA playoffs on FanDuel. 21 plus and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MyReset.
Hey, I'm Chris Fafalius, producer of Chris DeMakes a Podcast, and also host of One Hit Thunder. Each week on the One Hit Thunder podcast, we take a look into a one-hit wonder band or artist to determine if they deserved more success or if they were lucky to even have a hit at all. We've covered When in Rome, Jaquan, Shanice, Yellow, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Jesus Jones, Positive K, Mazzy Star, and hundreds more. With new episodes every Wednesday and special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we always have nonstop fun, and maybe, if we're lucky, we discover some new favorite music. So if you love great songs and you often find yourself asking, whatever happened to that band? Check out One Hit Thunder wherever you get your podcasts.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's feature artist is The Red Robot, a punk band from Redding, California. They were heavily active about 15 years ago and have reemerged with a new EP on the way, mixed by Jason Livermore at the Blasting Room. Here's a snippet of their song, Dead Body Lockbox.
Sounds of the sacred man. No flesh, no death. Join in this simple game. And don't piss on us. Don't piss on us.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
Chris, I really loved Peter's story about just being a simultaneous roadie and opening act for Counting Crows, staying out on the road for them for 5 or 6 months, doing whatever it takes as a young person. And we've all been there doing whatever it takes to try to get our music heard. I love that.
Oh man, every musician's story is somewhat the same, but everyone's completely different. And there was so many things I could relate to though, with his story. Just that tenaciousness about those early days. Yeah, think about it. Punchline's early tours, you'd sleep anywhere. Didn't matter.
Right.
We did. We slept anywhere. I love that. It was full speed ahead, and that time, how exciting! He loved this record by Counting Crows, and just all these little things started happening. So cool,
dude. They played with Counting Crows the night before they played SNL. And Chris, I don't know if you know this. Go watch the Counting Crows doc if you haven't seen it yet. It's on HBO. But that performance from Counting Crows was like such a turning point in their career. It's such like a touchstone for them. So that was really cool, Chris. I obviously related to so many things he said. I know you did. Talking about how it's never enough. No matter how much success you achieve, grass is always going to be greener. You always want to sell more tickets. You're comparing yourself to your peers. It can drive you crazy.
Oh my gosh. And how many guests have we talked about? How many guys have I talked backstage about this? I just did. I talked to Greg from Bouncing Souls recently about you just being able to slow down time back then. And enjoy, it's 7 a.m., but I'm on the biggest radio station in Chicago. I get to play my song this morning versus, And like he said, a lot of that was self-sabotage. It was being young and stupid, and you had to go to that party the night before, didn't you?
Yeah, and he talked about how he's self-sabotaging himself. I don't know if he's knowingly doing that or if he's just a young person who's going to do that anyway, but he's right. All of the best songs, all of the best art comes out of heartbreak and pain. And if you're bored and nothing's going on and everything's fine, the art's going to suffer. And that sucks. It sucks that it's that way because you want your life to be nice and good. But great things usually aren't going to come out of that. And that's kind of like the whole story of this song.
Sure. And I didn't say this to Peter, and I didn't want to, I don't know, maybe someone said this to him before, make him feel like, I don't know, like I was being negative or picking his band apart. But, someone had asked him, what's the name of this? He's like, Dog's Eye View. It sounded like he just threw it out, but the name just really doesn't match the project. And in my opinion, like I remember seeing their posters all over the place. I thought they were a harder edged, maybe metal act or something, alternative act in the 90s. And I remember hearing them and being surprised.
It's funny. You're probably thinking there was a band, like 120 Minutes band in the 90s called Dog Eat Dog. Do you remember them?
Yes. No, we've played with Dog Eat Dog because the band Warrant had a record called Dog Eat Dog. And Dog Eat Dog, they named their first record Warrant.
Really? That's so...
Dude, the weird thing about Dog Eat Dog, they were kind of like this rap band, okay? Rap alternative band from DC. They couldn't get arrested in the U.S., but they were huge in Europe. We'd go over and play with Dog's Eye View. Dog Eat Dog in Europe. So no, I wasn't confusing it with that band, but
okay.
Yes.
Right. Well, it is interesting because mid-90s, you do think like Duncan Sheik. And I mean, there were so many singer-songwriters that went by their name. Why did this...
Dave Matthews. Yeah.
Why did this have to be a band name? And yeah, that is pretty funny. Also, this is the most unique story of why there weren't more harmonies, backup vocals on a song, because the guy who was going to come there and do them was rolling down the hill and broke his ankle. And there may have been more harmonies on this song if that didn't happen.
Yeah. And I wonder, he said it was just this playful thing, but you got to wonder what a guy, I don't know, 24-year-old guy, 25-year-old guy rolling down a hill, what was he on?
Right.
Was he high on life or something else?
Yeah. Dude, and back to the singer-songwriter thing, you talked to him about how the pre-choruses, there was always some sort of change. And even the choruses, there are always changes. And I do think that comes out of the singer-songwriter world more than it comes out of the pop world, where you want to really drive the point home. And like you always say, Chris, you want to give the audience something to sing along to and not change it up on them. Whereas this does come more out of that coffee shop singer-songwriter world where you're always feeling like you need to change something.
Yeah, singer-songwriters are improv. They're like the comedians of our industry, and the good ones, like I said, they can pivot, they can read an audience, they can make a joke about this song's bombing, I'm going to do this song, and they'll go into a faster number, and and they know how to do that. And yeah, it sounds like producer Jim Barton just like let him go in there and rip. He'd do 5-6 takes, whatever. Hey, maybe hit that chorus one more time or hit that bridge one more time, and then go get lunch, and Jim would sit there and edit and compile a vocal, which I want to talk about him again. He was a left of center producer, but had the producer worked out that Peter wanted in New Orleans or whoever else, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here talking about his song 31 years later.
Right. I mean, it was a hit song, and the fact that the producer let him do his thing, and there is a real realness to this recording that comes through. It doesn't feel forced or fake or trying to be a hit. And I do think I liked this song right away. I liked the song back when it came out, and I still like it today. But dude, it's so funny. Adam Duritz, of all people, said that he should leave this song off the album. And that's especially funny, Chris, because, I'm a huge Counting Crows fan, but on the August and Everything After album, there's a song they left off of it called Einstein on the Beach, which became sort of like a B-side hit, like a favorite after the fact. I remember them even playing that on the radio a little bit, but they left it off because it's such an upbeat song that they felt like it didn't match the vibe of that album. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe Adam thought the same thing, that this song was just too upbeat and didn't match the vibe of the album. I don't know.
Yeah. Those are those mysteries. We never know. We do. There's a lot of components that go into being a hit single or whether a song falls flat. And I made the joke. Maybe that's why Adam didn't go into A&R. Maybe he doesn't know a hit when he hears it. Which again, who truly knows a hit when they hear it? I'll tell you what is a big hit though with you guys, and that's ChrisDeMakes.com. That's where our Patreon is at. You can get bonus episodes of the After Party each week with Chris and I. Defeat DeMakes, the game game show where you can take me on in music trivia. It's a good time, ChrisDeMakes.com. Before we break, we're going to get to one of those, hopefully, 5-star reviews, Chris.
This is a little different this week, Chris. Instead of going to a 5-star review, I went to a Spotify comment on a specific episode, which you can leave those too. We see and read those. At least I do. I see them. So I got one today. It's interesting, Chris. I always release Throwback Thursday episodes of our podcast, like in case someone missed an episode from years ago. I put them back into our feed. Well, a couple months ago, I actually put an episode from maybe a year or two of the After Party out. And it was the episode, I don't know if you remember this one, Chris, where we each exchanged 5 really strange songs with each other.
Oh, I remember. Brittany Fox.
Yeah, you sent me Brittany Fox. I sent you Ween, Big Fat Fuck, if you remember that.
Yep.
And we got a comment from a listener named JT Crawford who said, "My dad passed recently and I inherited his record collection. I've been making my way through it, and his Chili Whack albums were the one I listened to most recently. Never thought those worlds would collide, but after that, I had to subscribe to your Patreon." So he heard us talking about Chili Whack after, his father passed away and he's going through his records. And I don't know, that was, it's probably a really random band to, be going through records and hear who's this Canadian band? And then the next thing you know, we're talking about them. So I'm glad we could make that connection with JT. And hey, JT, thanks for subscribing to Patreon. We appreciate that.
That's pretty cool. I just saw new tour dates for Buck Cherry, and they're playing in Chilliwack.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a venue there, but very cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Chris. And I want to thank this week's guest, Peter Stuart from Dog's Eye View, sitting in with us. And we'll catch you next week. Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.